All right, guys, if you were a dumbass like me and parked your Jeep in a barn for a few years, knowing that mice could get into it, you probably got yourself the same problem I did. I'm going to show you the easiest way I found to fix it after hours of racking my brain. In short, mice are going to get in here and they're going to nest. In my case, they got into the whole HVAC system right up in the ducts. I had large nests in all the ducts all the way down to the heater core. So the only way to get that all clean, you have two options that I can think of. Literally take the whole dash apart. It's a 2-day project. Everything, steering column, brake booster, all have to come apart to get the dash properly off so that you can get to the air box and all the ducts. But I came up with a better way and it worked pretty darn well. So let me show you a couple of the tools I found that made it real helpful. First of all, get on Amazon and get a dryer duct sweeping kit. You hook this up to your drill and you can ream out almost all the components with some bleach water. You know, spritz some bleach water in there, soapy water, simple green, whatever you want, and you can ream all these out and get right down in there and get a lot of that. But of course everything just keeps falling, and that's where you have to get a little creative. Hit up Harbor Freight and get this brush cleaning kit. You're gonna need a few of these to get in all the nooks and crannies and loosen up all the mouse shit. This is the ticket right here. Get on Amazon and get a endoscope, a inspection camera. I'm pretty satisfied with this one. 50 bucks after a $10 off coupon. You can't do the job without it. So borrow one, get one. You're gonna need plenty of bleach, Clorox wipes, miscellaneous tools, shop vac. And here's how I went about it. All right, so get your glove box out of here. It's all this mess back in here. The heater core, the evaporator core, had mouse nest parts on both sides of it. So first things first, get in your air box right here, the air intake. Get your fan out. It's just a few like T15 bits to drop the fan. It gives you full access into the air intake box. Now up above there, that's where I had another nest that you can access under the hood. It was up on top of the outside air intake. Get right back here. This has some, it's covered up. I thought it was metal at first, sheet metal welded to it, but no, it's a piece of tape. Get that out of there, and that lets you get right up in that hole, and that's where your air intake is. I had a nest sitting right on top of there. If this whole channel and all the ducting isn't clean before you start this project, you're always going to be sucking that shit in. So get all that clean. That wasn't too bad. Power washer worked well, and then you got to level your Jeep accordingly so that it all flows the right way. There's an air intake, discharge, your foot discharge. Pop that off right here, and it's going to give you really good access to almost everything you need. Again, more mouse nest parts in there. Get the scope in there. Use a shop vac. Kind of tapered down to a piece of clear, like tubing or hose, so that you can get it into all the nooks and crannies back in there. There's some tight spots you can't really see, but then get in through your dents. Make sure you're cycling all your louvers to get the louvers up and down, and you know, get in there with a bleach water spray bottle. I found a pump sprayer, worked out really well. That way you can get the tip in there. You can put, I started with some bleach water, heavy bleach water, just to kill everything, and then followed up with like simple green or Dawn dish soap to rinse everything. Don't be afraid to spray the shit out of all this. It's all going to go down. You're not going to hurt anything, but it will pool up. And this is the ticket here. Let me show you how I dealt with that. Down underneath the floorboards, right there, just drill a hole. It's a 1-inch hole. You're going to get a lot of crap pooled up in there, and it's one of the lowest points. That's the evaporator core. You can see right in there. I had all kinds of mouse crap up in there. Drill a hole that lets you get the pump sprayer up there, and it lets you drain and vacuum everything out so that it's nice and clean. You can also I'm going to go up through the main air vent. You can't really see, but in there it's going to give you another path. What I'm looking at is this right here. You can get a shop vac up in there, the scope, and that gives you the foreside of the evaporator coil, unless you get that all nice and clean. And that drains pretty well. That has its own drain. It'll drain, as long as your Jeep's level, it'll drain out under the hood. Down by your trans, there's a little drain plug in there. But you might still have a low spot right there by that hole I made. I made one more hole that I think you got to make. And it's right under the heater core. Let's see if you can see it. Anyway, just go towards the back of the Jeep and this whole box assembly. It's about 6 inches back of that big hole I made. Kind of up, let me see, give you a better perspective, like right about right, my finger, like right behind this area. Get a drill bit in there, about a 3/4, like half-inch drill bit, enough to get the scope in and drain everything, and some of those little scrub brushes, and that lets you spray everything, and then suck it out with the vacuum. And then probably the hardest part, let's see if I can show you. So give you perspective again, I'm going back in through the glove box. Right in here, there's like a sliver towards the back side of the Jeep, not the front, the back. It's a little tight, but you can get the scope down in that crack. And I made a little catheter out of, like a suction catheter out of the shop vac, taper down to some hose, taper down to a straw. You can stick that in there. I had a bunch of stuff build up in there, and it just stands in there. If you keep pouring water in all your vents and cleaning it, it's going to pool. A lot of it will pool right in there on the far side of the heater core, which is right there. And it just pools there, so you got to suck that all out, get the scope down in there, and get every last bit of it. That was the hardest part. But again, everything can be accessed right through the glove box with a few of those tools. Yeah, that's it. I got it done, and finally the smell's gone. I can just tell it's in a lot better shape just by getting all that done. I still got to fire it up and see what it's going to do. But I think we're going to be in a lot better shape. Let me pause for a minute. That was a compressor going. Get some compressed air. That helps too, to shoot some into some of the nooks and crannies that you can't reach well otherwise. And I'm going to finish it up with this. I'm going to give this a shot. I'll let you know how it works out. It's a chlorine dioxide system. They got a couple different ones on Amazon. I just went with this route because they could get it here in a day. 12 bucks, I think. You basically put some chlorine dioxide tablets in there, a little bit of water, and then you set it in your Jeep for a couple of hours, and it creates this chlorine gas. Yeah, obviously don't sit in it or around it. I'm going to turn my HVAC on and let it circulate on low the whole time. You're just going to set it inside for a couple hours, and everybody swears by it. It runs kind of chlorine gases through all the ducts, through the entire cab, and hopefully get rid of that last smell. The biggest complaints are, yeah, it smells like, somebody said, a YMCA pool. And I get it, but hey, that's obviously the lesser of evils here. And I think it'll dissipate in time. So that'll get it out of the seats, the cushions, the soft top, I hope, and of course the HVAC. So, all right, let me take a minute, see if there's anything else I want to share for this long video, but I think that's the gist of it. I could not have done this without a few of those tools. I think 22 bucks for that dryer vent sweep. Use the heck out of that. That worked out really well. Chlorine kit, $5 or $6 maybe for this brush kit from Harbor Freight. And then this inspection scope was a ticket. You got to get one of those or borrow one. That's about the only way. So, all right. If you have any questions, message me. Thanks.